We're nearing a climax of this game, by the way. We're so close to the climax happening that they have plenty of time to just purchase ice cream. Just get popsicles. They each bought a Garagari-kun, and the two of them sat down on the railings in front of the police box and began to nibble on their popsicles. Nibble, nibble on the popsicles. Kozabi looked really happy. Senna looked straight-faced. I was on the verge of passing out from fear. There was a cop right in front of the police box. Passing out from afraid. He's afraid and sweating. Those are his two emotional states. But the girls didn't seem concerned in the slightest that they were violating Japan's laws against deadly weapons right in front of his face. Popsicle sticks. Oh my gosh, are those actual tongue depressors? You're going to jail. And what was the cop's problem? I could see the two giant swords in front of his face just fine, but instead of arresting them, he was ignoring them. Is that what you want? Since Kozabi was watching, I had no choice but to start nibbling on my Garagari-kun. I was intensely focused on where the people around us were looking. Senna and Kozabi were cute. The sight of two cute, flat-chested sisters and a creepy otaku like me standing out in the winter cold and eating popsicles was so surreal that we were sure to stand out. There are two girls and a weirdo together? Oh my gosh. Well, wonders never cease. Or was I being paranoid after all? I could still hear the chuckles of my classmates. Was I hearing things? Was I imagining them? Did people actually not give a shit about me? I didn't want to stand out above the crowd, even if I have to shout out loud. I didn't want to be seen. I was scared of other people's gazes. Whose eyes are those? I should have worn a hat. Yes, a hat. God, it would have solved all your problems, Takumi Nishijo. A flat cap. Perhaps a trilby. I wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. I decided the fastest way to do this was to chow down on my popsicle. As I did, though, my body started to freeze. This was definitely going to give me diarrhea later? And weren't the two of them cold? Like, what? Do popsicle... I mean, I guess anything could if you're not... His body froze and then he shit himself. What a life. It's a good question. Shouldn't you be, like, nowhere near this guy? Don't use honorifics with this guy. He has not earned them. Did she nurse me? I don't like the implication there. Kozabi tried to mimic the motion of killing someone with her hands. Throttling him. But since one hand was holding the huge D-sword, she had to do it with the other, so she just went, fucking Vader style. And of course the other hand held her Garagari-kun. Her popsicle, which she hadn't taken a single bite of, flew out of her hand in a perfect arc. Then it landed on the ground and shattered. Because it was made of glass. Kozabi looked at the remains of her popsicle with tears in her eyes. Oh, it's heartbreaking. Senna handed Kozabi her half-eaten Garagari-kun. Evidently, she was giving it to her. Kozabi smiled through her tears and bobbed her head in thanks. I didn't realize that Senna could be so nice. That was surprising. Surprising, you don't know her. Jerk. Who was it who hurt those thugs so badly? Was it Kozapi? Or was it me? Good for her. Real butts. It should have been real butts. I'd like it a lot more if it was. What was that? I never heard that word before. Or that gigolo what's it word, for that matter. Ooh. Yes, he's a gigalomaniac. It's... If you can see the D-sword, you're a gigalomaniac. You're... Chunibyo is what other series would call this. No, I meant more specifically, like, how does it work? The Dirac Sea? Senna answered instead. Senna glanced at me contemptuously when I didn't recognize the term. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm actually pretty smart, you know. That's generally what you have to... Whenever somebody thinks you're stupid, you have to tell them, I'm actually quite smart. Then they'll believe you. I vaguely remembered the Dirac Sea being some concept in quantum physics. Oh, hell yeah, time for some exposition. Oh, is that so? The sword is the shortcut for boots. Got it. That's a lot of science jargon just getting dropped fucking fucking nonchalant style. Thank you. Maybe I wasted the opportunity to call one of these chapters actively dissociating. Holy shit. Oh. Oh man, I find myself struggling with this, and that's crazy. I mean, I'm quite smart. Annihilation. I don't know. I like authority. Acceptance is pretty good. Haven't read Absolution yet, though. Come to think of it, Senna had said something similar before. Oh, thanks for the flashback, because I did forget. That was like 200,000 words ago. Sorry I'm yawning so much, I'm just so enthralled. It's starting to make my head hurt. What does your ice cream look like to you? Like a popsicle.
水色をしたアイス。その水色のアイスは本当に現実だと証明できるか。
Some I think therefore I am stuff. Okay. What else could it be but a Garagari-kun, though? You could recognize it instantly by its distinctive color, and if you ate it, it would feel cold. This should be common sense, but...
人は目で見たものを脳が認識して初めてそれが水色のアイスと理解できる。でも脳が本人の意識しないままに嘘をついている可能性だってあるんだぞ。脳が生み出した自分一人だけがそう思い込んでいる妄想かもしれない。
Maybe the popsicle wasn't real. There is no spoon.
じゃあどうやって現実だって証明するの？
Somebody get the oracle. My god.
お前の持っているものが水色のアイスであると観測すれば、それは2人以上の人間の共通の認識となる。お前一人だけの妄想がなくなるんだ。妄想を現実にするときにはそれを逆説的に捉えればいい。
So in other words, you could create a delusion in your own mind, and using the particles created by the D-sword, force the other people around you to see it, thereby making it real. And I had this power too? You're a part of the crew, though. You should already know this. Were you just added 2 hours ago? They're just not deluded enough. Oh, she's going back there. Okay. Kozupi gave the Garagari-kun back to Senna and suddenly ran out toward the street. For some reason, she began to swing the D-sword at the people around her. I covered my eyes. She'd finally revealed her true nature. Kozupi was actually an insane killer. The street must be covered in blood right now. The streets runneth over with the blood. One thwack with that gigantic sword, and you'd be sliced in twain. Kozupi would be arrested on the spot. We were right in front of a police box, after all. The cops would have seen the whole thing. I mean, she did still run into the middle of a crowd, though, swinging her arms, right? They might have been like, hey, knock it off. Why was it so quiet? She just killed people with a sword in broad daylight in the middle of Shibuya. But nobody was screaming. I couldn't hear any cop shouting either. I slowly opened my eyes. Nothing had happened. Kozupi was still swinging around the sword, though now she looked a little embarrassed. It was colliding with other people, with railings, with the ground, but nothing happened. It wasn't cutting anything. In fact, the sword was going right through it all, as if everything around it was just an illusion. Ski-wo. No, that wasn't right. It was the other way around. The sword was what didn't exist. The people around her weren't reacting at all. They couldn't see it. And apparently they couldn't see her running around either. Beepo, beepo. Where's that on the hardness scale? Ayase had said something similar once, actually. She said that only those with the power could see the sword. Next to me, Senna sighed in annoyance and nibbled on her Garugari-kun. I mean, pretty on the nose to create a sword. Why didn't you create a fucking Glock? Probably would have solved a lot of your problems if your attacks were ranged. So what's the point of keeping it fake if it doesn't do anything? Real booting. That would be when you send particles into other people's dead spots, right? Not that I was sure what a dead spot was. Yeah, right, sure. I'd like it a lot more if she used words instead of sound effects. but I kind of got the basic idea. Swash was probably swinging the sword, and Kerthwack would be hitting with it. I think we've determined that Kaka Kaka and Tuki Tuki don't work. What was she swinging at, and what was she hitting? Was Kozapi really doing something so scary? And did I have that power too? Let's hope not. Let's hope the game ends before you get it. No. No. That wasn't special. I'm not a gigalomaniac. Whatever that means. That's why I couldn't get my D sword. I hope it's like fucking like Sting or like a noisy cricket. Just this teeny little, everybody's got these big fucking claymores and Halo swords and Mega Busters, and stupid ass Takumi Nishijo gets like the swords that you get that pierces a lemon wedge in a pirate themed drink at a restaurant. That example might be a little too specific. Even with all that stuff was happening at O-Front, I couldn't get it. I could see it, but I didn't know how to grab it. We don't know. Kozapi looked at Senna expectantly. Senna sighed again, as if she's just... I don't even want to be in this game. Dopamine in the neurons? What the fuck? When you see, you just gotta dopamine your neurons, and then you can get the cool sword. It's really easy. You should have figured this out hours ago. You become a better swordsman when you have more dopamine. What are we doing here? Senna's knowledge was incredible. It was possible that she was incredibly smart. Won't even confirm that for her. It's like, wow, she was. You couldn't even just say she's really smart. You should be like, yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible that she's smart. Actually, she knows so much. There might be an entire field of study about this. Call it gigalomaniacology or something. I could almost guarantee that no other teenage girl in Japan could talk about such complicated things and use such technical terms. There's a possibility she's smart. Where had she learned all this? In a possibly smart person building? Why did I keep meeting all these mysterious people? Somebody please give me the answer. I'm tired of thinking. It made me feel sick. Knowing only a few hints, but nothing that really mattered. You get a whole dictionary full of hints. What are you talking about, brother? But I didn't feel like looking into it myself because none of these people were normal. Bitterly, I took the last bite from the melted garagari-kun popsicle. Near the bottom of the stick, I could see the word winner. Kozapi had come back and was now looking at the stick in my hands. That's the only reason she eats these fucking popsicles. That's what she was thinking, for sure. I don't think you can fool Kozapi like that. She knows exactly what you're thinking. You've got a problem. She'd calculated it precisely. She must have kept a running tally with each one she ate. There's a possibility she's smart. Senna finished her garagari-kun. She looked at her stick and grunted. I could tell from the look on her face that she wasn't a winner. Yeah. You tend not to win something and go, ugh. Anyway. Here, take the stick covered in my spit. Fuck this fucking guy. That's normal. I'm gonna delude a winning popsicle stick into existence and real boot it.
僕アイスはあんまり食べないし。
断る。
Good. Stand your ground. Refuse the popsicle. This is what we're doing towards the climax of a science adventure. Discussing popsicle sticks. She wasn't even slightly interested? What a rude woman. It generally goes against kindness when you offer it to somebody and someone says no thank you, for you to go, you're rude. Let me insult you for not accepting how kind I am. She's just, oh, that's it. That's right. He's a fucking loser, so he thinks she's just being a tsundere. It's not Moe if it's 3D. Understand?
ほいじゃあこうしようよセナちゃん。この間2人で一緒にお勉強した渋谷言葉を言ってくれたら。
いらないと言っているだろ。
いいから早く。楽しい時に言う言葉っていうか超楽しくてマジやばい。超ベリーグー。
Oh, what? What? DQN? Like words? They were also like a decade out of date, too. They're decade-old DQNs. Had the two of them been studying that? It was kind of cute in a way, but
渋谷に馴染むためなのら。
I wish they would leave.
ささセナちゃん。
無理。今は
無理じゃない。
無理だ。
Sob, indeed. I feel the same way. Just sob. Kozupi silently stared at Senna with tears in her eyes. Even Senna couldn't resist that. Why did he say that? Like, oh, even Senna, who who has shown no proclivity to not giving in to anything Kozupi wants to do.
っていうかちょべりぐ。
相変わらずセナちゃんは片言ですね。
Who the fuck wouldn't? None of that makes any sense. Senna had started blushing and was turning away from me. I felt like I'd just seen something very rare and precious. This was the complete opposite of all the complicated theories she'd just been spewing a moment ago. All hail Dade mode. I'd just seen new possibilities in 3D girls. GJ Kozupi. I realized I didn't know what GJ stood for before. It's good job. Makes sense. As promised, I gave Senna that winning stick. She took it with less resistance than I'd been expecting.
礼は言わないから。
Politeness is for squares. Manners are for the polite. She very pointedly picked up her D-sword again and glared at me before backing down at her feet. Why did she have to glare at me after I'd done something nice for her? Dealing with Senna was always such a pain. I wish she'd just stay in Dade mode all day. Yuck.
それよりお前。
Good thing she can't read minds. She'd kick you in your fucking cock.
たくみさんですよ。
たくみさんなのか。
違う。
Sadly, yeah.
シャンはつけなくても。
I guess it is. I don't know. I just remembered yesterday.
名前は。
I was pretty sure I'd given it to her before, but evidently she'd forgotten it.
西条匠です。
だったら西条。もうこれ以上エラーを作るのやめておけ。
Yeah, quit being deluded, you freak. It's really harsh in the buzz here. Huh? That's all he's got. Huh?
なんで？剣は自分の心なのら否定しちゃダメ。コズピーはこの剣のおかげで助かったよ。
Yeah, but you're better. You're better than stupid Takumi Nishijo. He's just a dumb idiot, man. Like, he doesn't matter. I was also curious about that wish to kill she'd mentioned before, too. She'll probably do it before the end of the game. She'll kill someone.
リスクがつきまとう。
any more risky than making fucking... It made a flower bed.
粒子とともに追生成される反粒子は理想反粒子は数学的に言えば過去へ向かうものだから
So he was able to create something without the use of the D sword. So does that mean he's like an extra special gigalomaniac?
すればするほど
Like a chosen one gigalomaniac?
現在の状態とのズレが発生し
Hope not.
やがてその矛盾により存在としての自己崩壊へ至る
Mm-hmm. Pulls to speak Japanese thinks.
小杖もあまりディソードを出すのをやめるんだ
Not gonna happen. You can write letters. That's not gonna happen. I ain't gonna do it.
普通に生活していきたいなら私の忠告を聞け
Me telling jokes about them women in Shibuya. That's not gonna happen.
これはお前たちの命に関わる話だ
Senna didn't seem to be joking. She didn't seem like the type who ever joked.
ましてやミシ
Just ate popsicles and was miserable.
お前はディソードなしでリアルブートした本来なら
There were like 4 people in this entire town who are gigalomaniacs. Like, who fucking cares? How do you know?
リラックの海には
How do you know that
ディソー
can't
ド
be
を通し
done?
てしか干渉できないんだからお前は普通じゃない
That's fucking true.
奴らに目をつけられてもおかしくない
Ugh.
やつら
No, great. They.
ギガロマニアックスの力は
They. And worse, them. The cowards, they.
それって将軍
知らない誰だそれ
Kozapi, did Senna just lie to me?
ついてないよ
How do you know she wouldn't just lie about her for you? She was Senna's friend before she was fucking your friend.
西条
And I'm struggling to even consider if you two are friends.
誰だ
The coldness in her voice made me shudder. Suddenly, I couldn't look her in the eye. She punched me in the gut. She grabbed me by the collar. It hurt to breathe. Sob. Why did she have to be so mean? Did I do something wrong?
そいつは40代ぐらいの男か
違うよ小さなじいさんだよ
Senna immediately let go.
そいつもギガロマニアックスなのか
How the fuck should I know? I only found out about gigalomaniacs today.
わからないでもニュージェネの真犯人だよ
真犯人だと
Senna put her fingers up to her chin and began to think. Sis thinks she's the thinker. Maybe she's doing like a Scott Steiner or the Rizzler. The moon had suddenly turned sour. Now it'd been so good before. I felt a strange, indescribable fear. Senna knew something. But what? Who were these people who were trying to use the power of the gigalomaniacs for evil?
そうだそうだ3人で記念撮影しましょうほらあれ
You can read minds. Have you considered reading the fucking room? Suddenly, Kozapi's cheerful voice broke the silence. I looked to see where she was pointing. It was the arcade next to the police box. If she wanted to take a picture there, that could only mean... Dude, she looks like she's been fucking stun-locked. Look at this fucking crew.
たくみさんほら真ん中
How come the swords appear? Why are the swords in the fucking... in their photo?
いや僕は
セナさん横見てたらダメです
私はこういうのは
Don't really do this. I don't really take pictures.
コズピーだって
That's fine, neither do I.
初めてなのだときっと
First time. Kozapi began tapping the buttons on the photo booth's console. A voice came from the screen before Senna and I could get ready. You called it the Gigalomaniac Trio? Our first time. It's our first time. Once again, congratulations. The photo it took didn't show the D swords. No, but it showed every other imperfection. Yeah, mata ashita. Get the fuck out of here. Kozapi smiled and waved a little as she disappeared beyond the turnstiles. Senna and I watched her go. I would have preferred that she didn't leave me along with Senna. But from the look of things, she wasn't ready to leave Shibuya yet. Was she going to wander around here, like she always did? I wanted to head home immediately, but first, there was something I needed to ask this professor of gigalomaniacology. Senna just ignored me, frowning. She was a little better when Kozapi was around, but she was still so hard to deal with. My heart was pounding fast. I figured she had to at least be hearing me, so I asked my question.
コズピーの心の声もギガロマニアックスの能力なの
I wasn't expecting an answer. I assumed she'd just give me a humph, and that would be the end of it. Senna gave me a glance before looking out over the big TVs at Scramble Crossing.
心の声はいわば妄想だ
Life is suffering caused by desire. To end the suffering, we must end desire. Ew. Bleak. And sadly relevant to today. She actually answered.
それは他人のデッドスポットに送り込んでいるに過ぎない送り込んだ粒子を映像ではなく音声に変換しているんだ
Kozapi works like a little cell phone.
そして梢から心の声という妄想を送り込まれたことでお前テレパシーで会話しているように思える
だったら僕の心の声は
Oh my goodness. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Sorry about that. I certainly wasn't sending any delusions into her dead spots, or whatever. It should be one-way communication. But we were able to talk to each other regardless.
ギガロマニアックスは他人の妄想を見ることができる他人が垂れ流す妄想をほぼ強制的に見せられていると言ってもいい
Seeing delusions. Was such a thing even possible? Probably not. I couldn't do that. So maybe I wasn't a gigalomaniac at all. Senna's eyes suddenly became distant as she turned her gaze from the television to the people walking through the crossing.
ギガロマニアックスとなったものは誰だろうと一度は壊れているんだ
壊れたって何
Yeah, like fell. Broke a bone.
心が
Their minds. We're all broken, Takumi Nishijo.
梢は東京に来る前奴らに追い詰められて
Now that's not very nice. She began to tell me what Kozapi had experienced before coming to my school. When she first met Kozapi, she'd seen what happened, like a video. You will now get a slideshow. Switch to the energy. Just need a little more energy to make it through this stream. Kozue had always had the strange ability to read other people's minds. She'd managed, with great effort, to come to terms with her power and hide it from other people and lead something of a normal Nishijo. Nichijo. He's Nishijo. Nichijo is my ordinary Nichijo. I can't wait for that new series, that like Nichijo spiritual successor. And then the mirrors appeared. After she started high school, Kozue started seeing mirrors everywhere. At first, she thought it was just a coincidence. It happened maybe twice a day. It was like a Hanako-san sort of folklore. But then, as time passed, it happened more and more. Adults. She would run into people holding mirrors more than 10 times a day. The encounters themselves were nothing special. A person on the street would be holding a mirror. A classmate would be doing their makeup in a bathroom. Notoriously, very few mirrors in there natively. But whether it was coincidence or deliberate, it always seemed to end up that she'd see her reflection in them. Yeah? And eventually, the ones within the mirrors, both men and women, would start to laugh. Bah, ha, ha, ha. They'd say in their minds, "Who are you? Whose eyes are those?" In the classroom, at school, on trains. When she was out shopping, she'd see them everywhere she went. It wasn't any one person. In fact, it was a different person each time. But Kozue became suspicious of everyone holding a mirror, and became suspicious of everyone who was laughing. It wasn't long after that when people who weren't holding mirrors seemed to be saying, "Who are you?" She was on the verge of having a breakdown, as the voices of their minds echoed in her ears again and again. One day, Kozue looked at herself in the mirror and whispered, "Who are you? Who? I really want to know. Come on, tell me, who are you? You. The moment she spoke, she was terrified. Tongue-tied, and she's terrified now. Tongue-tied, and you're terrified that she might soon no longer know who she was. There was a girl on the other side of the mirror with the same face as her, speaking back. That's when she stopped speaking. She stopped being able to look at mirrors, too. I kind of imagine that would just kind of come up in life. I don't think you get a whole lot of choice over that. But the voice is asking, "Who are you?" didn't go away. Like I'm asking my camera right now, "Who are you?" What could it mean? She couldn't even tell whose voices they were anymore. Whose voice are those? She was like a broken fax machine. Fucking 2008 fucking a fax machine that couldn't refuse incoming calls. Her power had made sure she heard others' voices, whether she wanted to or not. There was nothing she could do. Kozue's mind was falling apart. She's falling apart. Ugh. That's sung by a bad man. Forget I even said it. Then one day, in her second year of high school, she was staying late cleaning up. 3 of her classmates were whispering to each other as they did their makeup. Mirrors in hand. Oh no. Mirrors and laughter. Oh no. The 2 basic food groups. And then the voice is asking, "Who are you?" Whether it was the voices of her 3 classmates' minds or just a hallucination. It didn't even matter anymore. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. As she trembled in fear, she saw herself reflected in the mirrors. And then she got flashbanged. Oops. Her vision went dark for a moment. Was it deliberate or chance? It didn't even matter anymore. Doesn't even matter. I already made the in the end reference, but I don't care. I want to do it again. Her mind had been under so much pressure for a year that it finally snapped. The next thing she knew, she was screaming, and a murderous instinct had come over her. Now she was gonna go, I'm gonna kill you, Kane, yeah. She saw the D sword in the corner of her eye, and for the first time, she grabbed it. And then she attacked them. And then she turned the screen red, which doesn't go well with the blue. I got all the blue set up today, and mixed with all this red in my face, I just look orange. All three had their mirrors in their right hands, and within a second she'd used her real booted D-sword to slice their hands off. You could just transfer schools after doing that shit? Slicey, like, you can't learn here anymore. You gotta go somewhere else. According to my schedule, today wasn't a school day, but I'd come anyway, for one reason. I guess, Rimi Sakihata. To see Rimi. I was sure my DQN classmates would be making fun of me again. But not anymore. It hurt how my friends never stood down a win. Oh, the shame. But I'd be willing to put up with it if it meant possibly seeing Rimi. He's in love. The boy's in love. As I walked through the school gate, through the valley of death, I remembered my conversation, and I realized there's nothing left. Before we parted ways, Senna said one last thing to me. Go fuck yourself. That's what she should say. Oh, you're talking to the wrong man. He ain't got no strength. He useless. I hope he gets devoured. That sounds great. I didn't want to get involved with anything dangerous, so I didn't ask anything more. I knew I wasn't going to get the D-sword anyway, no matter how hard I tried. I wasn't a hero. I was just a loser. Soy un perdedor, who couldn't even protect his own little sister. But there was a chance that Shogun would come back. He seemed to be coming after me as part of some game, some sort of game, which meant the next quest might start whenever he felt like it. That scared me. The only reason I'd wanted a D-sword in the first place was because I was so scared of him. I want to real boot a weapon into his ass. That's why he wants the D-sword, so he can shove it up Shogun's ass the long way. How was I supposed to protect myself from him without the sword? Have Rimi stay with me? But Rimi wasn't coming to school, and that worried me. What if he took Rimi hostage, like he did Nanami? Wasn't there anybody who could help me? It would have to be somebody who had a D-sword. Ayase was injured, so she was out of the question. Sir not appearing in this film, also gone. There's no way Senna was going to help me. And Kozupi was very strange. But she's got a D-sword and more than willing to murder Frio. Like, hey, you want to help me find an old man in a wheelchair? We're just going to stick that big-ass sword of yours right in his belly button. Bisection style. I entered the classroom with my head down. They're like, why does this fucking guy keep coming back here? I took a single look around the room before I sat down. First at Rimi's seat. Empty. Was she absent again today? Was she really just not coming to school? Or was something more going on? I wanted to see her again. To see her cheerful face once more. Next, Kozupi. Standing at attention, as always. She was sitting in her seat, looking down, making herself as small as possible. Not too hard. She's like 3'2". What are you talking about? I remember what Senna said yesterday, which more than explained why she acted that way. Straight up. She's like, her voice is like, Ohio, and she's like, Ohio. Good morning, Takumi. Good morning, Takumi. I can't even do it. Like, I can't even make that face while talking, so excited. Morning, Kozupi. We didn't look at each other, but we exchanged greetings in our mind. The DQN girls were grinning at me. It had only been a day. The label of creepy loser otaku who made a mess on TV wasn't coming off that quickly. The DQN boys evidently weren't here yet. Those guys would often skip first period. The boys just skipped first period. That was just a given. But what about these two? What about the two lads on the right-hand side here? They're just not the DQN boys, I guess. And neither is this fella on the left. I sat down. And then I heard her voice as it called my name. God herself. I gasped and looked up. Rimi was standing in front of me. She gave me a little grin and a wave. Yeah, thanks for abandoning me, bitch. I wasn't imagining her, just reaching out and touching her face like, are you real? Are you real? She was really here. She was breathing. What about fine dining? Does she know about that? Her hair bounced gently as she moved. She blinked every so often. She was capable of basic bodily function. She's here. She was here. I felt the need to sniffle coming on. My heart felt like someone was squeezing on it hard. I felt like I was about to cry. Maybe sweat. Likely cum. Sorry. I lifted myself out of my chair, but then stopped, unable to move. Oh, he was going in for the fucking kill. I'm so glad, Yokata. I got to see you again. Immediately put off. Are you crying? Fucking Gojo style? Let's go. I shook my head as hard as I could. If my DQN classmates saw me crying, they'd make fun of me again. I told myself I mustn't cry, but the tears just kept coming, and they don't stop coming. Back to the rules, and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. A lot of dumb heads in this game. I love you. I couldn't even look up at her. If I did, I'd start sobbing right on the spot. Then someone slapped me on the back. Sup? Evening, bitch. It was Misumi, the traitor, with an awkward expression on his face. He hadn't slapped me nearly as hard as he'd used to. Just yesterday, he'd been ignoring me. Yeah, because talking to you is social fucking suicide. Oh, am I not allowed to say that on Twitch? Oops, my bad. I didn't mean it. Social fucking unalive. Let's dumb down language a little bit. Why was he talking to me? That's a great question. Why is this fucking useless character here? If he did, it would ruin his life. The DQNs in the class would bully him. That's right. Both Rimi and Misumi would be better off if they didn't talk to me at all. That's for true. When I didn't respond, Misumi forced a smile onto his face. A bitch. He was being as rude as ever, but it didn't feel like he was being mean. that was just how he talked. He just talked like he was being mean, so he just decided that he wasn't being mean.
そういう大地は朝から無駄に爽やかだね。
Maybe you should both go to hell.
無駄にとか言うな。久々に学校来たと思ったらいきなりそれか。
じゃあ嘘くさい爽やかさ。
なたく、この言い草どう思うよ。
I can't believe anything.
Mm-mm.
I gave him a vague nod. I'd managed, somehow, to stop the tears. Life was back to normal, at least in terms of what was in front of me right now. The two of them didn't seem to be bothered at all by the fact that they might end up bullied by the rest of the class.
そういえば、岸本のことを聞いたか。
Who?
まだ入院中らしいぜ。
Oh, ISA.
怪我は大したこ
I
となかっ
don't know any of these people. I barely know their first names. You want me to remember their fucking last names too? I could barely do that with real people. In real life.
た。いいか。
That are related to me.
女を落とすのに一
I
番
don't know who they are.
弱ってる時に優しくしてやることだ。
It's not good advice.
というわけで俺、本気で岸本の見舞いに行こうかなと思ってんだよね。
Just push him out the window. I liked you better when you were ignoring me.
大地最低。ブーブー。
Blah blah.
今度こそ彼女さんに刺されるよ。
You should help her. In fact, so should we all. Let's fucking Julius Caesar this fucking guy.
お見舞いに行くだけだろ。別にやましいことじゃねえよ。
ほんの数
I
秒
don't trust you.
言ってることが違うし。
そういえばタクって岸本と知り合いだったよな。
No. No. No, no, no. That sounded like something Misumi would usually say. I was sure he was going to ask me about my supposed psychic powers, so I was actually kind of surprised. He kept talking a while after that. He did not stop. Misumi would talk, and sometimes Rimi would make smart comments, and I'd just kind of nod along. It was the same as it had been before. And that made me oh so happy. Fucking delusion style. Let's go. Oh, hello. Hi, how are you? That guy looks like the villain from Atlantis. With fucking goddamn Leon S. Kennedy's hair. What a fucking ponum. Holy shit. Genichi Norose stood in front of the window in the CEO's office on the top floor of the Nozomi Group building and lit his cigarette. That's how you know he's the villain. Smoking cigs. The Nozomi Group. A massive corporate group with tight ties to the government and any number of smaller companies beneath it. Some of these child companies, don't like that term, had begun in fields like clothing, foodstuffs, and imports, and gone on to achieve remarkable success. Norose was at the head of the group, and here he was in his castle, looking down at the scenery below him. But his mind was somewhere else, instead of enjoying the view. There was a mocking smile on his lips, but his feet were tapping impatiently on the floor.
まったく老人たちの相手は面倒ですよ。
That's the problem. The olds and the youngs. You gotta do something about the elderly and the youths.
そう思いませんか。彼らは臆病すぎる。だからこそここまでのし上がってきた。利用するにもこうあれこれと横槍を入れられてはいい加減うんざりしてきますよ。
Alright.
現実は悲しいかな。300人委員会の影響力というものを侮ることはできません。ただいずれ近いうちにそのシステムも崩壊する。楽しみですか？
Who are you talking to? Is he just talking to the window? Is he talking to a reflection? Is it a mirror? We just learned about how bad mirrors were. Oh, it's been 5 years since Project Noah. Norose walked over to his desk. It was a heavy desk, made of natural oak, with very little on top of it. The few things that were there were business-related. Don't you ask about that. There was, however, one object lying in its corner that was very different from the others. Norose picked up the strange green character. He gave it a disinterested glance and tossed it in the wastebasket. Was it a fucking Garo Froggy? Is the frog keychain making a return? His narrowed eyes were turned towards the dimly lit room. The moonlight from the window didn't reach to the far end. There was a faint sense, however, that someone was present there. God himself cannot sink this ship. The God himself is sinking this fucking game, though. Jesus Christ. Get on with it.
怯える必要はありません。私は元医師でしてね。インフォームのコンセントはきちんとしなければ。
I don't like that phrasing either.
そもそもノア2のハードウェアはすでに完成しています。あと必要なのはそのために君たちギガロマニアックスのサンプルが
All four of you.
正確に言うならば NA シナプスに関するコードサンプル。脳の働きに指令を出す役割を果たしている部位の行動サンプルですよ。コードサンプルには個人差があります。
Code samples, gravity errors, what the fuck?
持っている能力が高いギガロマニアックスは NA シナプスもより人間の脳は全体の10分の1しか使われていません。
I don't think that's actually true. I feel like the 10% of your brain thing has been debunked. They use 12%. Oh, they use 100%. Wow.
実に興味深い。そのサンプルがノア2にとっていわば CPU の役割を果たすわけです。サンプルが多ければ多いほどノア2の能力は本物のギガロマニアックスに近づき、やがて超えるでしょう。
To what end, dare I ask?
納得してもらえましたか?
No.
結構。
Keiko. Oh, that's so close to Keikaku, which is means plan. Norose nodded, satisfied, and let out a puff of cigarette smoke as he turned back toward the window. Seen up close, Shibuya was a vulgar, disgusting city. Looking at it only brought him displeasure, which is why he set up his headquarters in Shibuya. But high up here, he always found it a more pleasant sight. Skylines are nice. I like being up high and looking at shit too. So that's this is the most relatable guy. Of course, it wouldn't be long before he'd never see it again. Okay, after his group's Project Noah performed its last experiment. Yeah, is that gonna be like actually soon though? I knew it was the fucking frog. Oh, I hate tchotchkes. Get out of my face. Lunchtime. I always skipped lunch. I hated eating by myself in the classroom. I didn't have anybody to eat with. Lately, Rimi had tried inviting me to eat with her, but I was always too embarrassed to say yes. Whenever lunchtime came around, I would always leave the class and escape somewhere more peaceful. Sometimes that would be the library, sometimes the courtyard. But ever since what happened at O-Front, the whole school knew my face. There was no place left where I could relax. I could feel them staring at me. I could hear their laughter and insults. like I did every other day, I walked around the whole school and found no escape from them anywhere. Just when I was thinking of hiding in the toilet, I'll go hang out with Hanako-san. I saw Nanami walking away from me down the hallway to the first-year students' classrooms. She was walking back to class alone, it looked like. I realized I hadn't talked to her once since the incident. I'd been avoiding her for the past week. I mean, I'd have no idea what to say when I met her. I was a terrible brother. I'd chosen to save my life instead of saving hers, and clearly that has not worked out well. It was nothing more than a miracle that Nanami had been released. I'd done nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Maybe Shogun had told Nanami that it was my fault that she'd been kidnapped. If so, she'd definitely be mad at me. She might hate me now, and not want to speak it with me at all, except to call me a Baka Oni. I didn't have the courage to go and talk to her. Imagine that, Takumi Nishijo not having the courage to do anything. But after I'd happened to see her, I started to get worried, even though it was way too late. Had they done anything to her? Had they hurt her? Was she okay, mentally? Blah. Jump scare. For a moment, the memories of that hand came back to me. I could barely recall, but it's all coming back to me now. I shook my head. The severed hand, the bangle on the wrist, the phone. They were all a delusion, a very realistic delusion. I knew this for a fact, because the hand had disappeared from my fridge. It's a normal place to put it. Instead of assuming it had disappeared, it was more natural to assume that it ever even there in the first place. Especially since Nanami was alive and here at school, with both hands. I started to run after her without even realizing I was doing it. Just fucking sprinting at her like a loon. Nanami hadn't noticed me yet. As she walked, she played with her hair with her right hand. I went to call out to her. As she played with her hair, the sleeve around her right hand fell back a little. I gulped back my words. It stopped. I'd seen something. It was very small, almost unnoticeable, but something wide. Something wrapped, placed so that it wouldn't stand out above the crowd, even if I've got to shout out loud. A bandage on her right wrist. Okay. Chapter 8. Bon arrived at Frieza 30 minutes after the time Momose asked him to be there. Don't make me eat a cookie at you. Momose yelled at him as soon as he arrived. Bon shrugged and gave her a half-hearted smile as he walked over to her desk. He hadn't brought her any sweets today, a decision he was beginning to regret. You sate the fatties with food, as one myself. I'm actually depressed I don't have any kind of snack in front of me right now. He actually does work, unlike me. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
昨日だおかげで最近の女子高生の生態についてはかなり詳しくなった。あんたね。
Kick him in his little Columbo cock.
で、こうして俺を呼びつけたってこと。
Wind up, it's right there. And it's at knee height too.
今来てるわ。
さすがももちゃん。ちなみに可愛い子かい？
Get him again.
いつまでもバカなこと言ってんじゃないわよ、エロ親父。
冗談だって。
Hit him again. Bond had asked Momose for a favor. He'd wanted to talk to somebody involved in the new gen cases directly, and had asked Frieza to make it happen. His questions were, for the moment, not going to be directly linked to the police investigation. He couldn't talk to her in an official capacity, at least without somehow getting the rest of the team involved. Momose headed for a corner of the office, motioning for Bond to follow her. There was a small space there, surrounded by shelves lined with files. This space served as a meeting room for talking with clients. There were 2 sofas, each with room for 2 people, and both far too big for the cramped little area. When Bond followed Momose inside, he saw a girl sitting there. She was wearing a Suimei Academy uniform. Her shoulders were slumped, and she was looking down. She looked exhausted.
ごめんね。お待たせしちゃって。
So let's see, which one of the 4 girls in the story is it going to be? Is it Ayase Kishimoto? Is it Kozue Orihara? Is it Senna, whatever the fuck her last name is? Or is it Nishijo Nanami? Oh, it's Yua Kuronose? She's doing my favorite pose, the fucking 2-fingered whatever the fuck this was. The girl looked up in surprise as Momose spoke. Her glasses slid on her nose a little, forcing her to push them back into place with her fingers.
あ、いえ、平気です。
She looked a little scared as she bowed shallowly to Bon. He was kind of hurt by this. Bon always tried his hardest to try and come off as unthreatening. He's a cop. He realized, though, he must still be giving off the intimidating air of a professional police officer. His words. It's something he would have to keep working on, he realized. Or retire, bitch. Yua Kusunoki. I don't remember what I said, but it was wrong.
はい。
亡くなったミヤさんの双子の姉。それで間違いないかな。
Very tactful way of bringing that up. Yua flinched a little before nodding. The first new gen case was the group dive. One of the victims who jumped was a girl named Mia Kusunoki.
まあ、そんな緊張しなさい。
Hey, heard your twin sister jumped off a building. Are you related to her? This guy's a fucking awful cop. He is not good enough to be doing this shit on his own. In a, sort of a police sort of way.
本題に入る前に、ユアちゃんは妹さんが亡くなったことについてどう思う？
ちょっとバンちゃん。
Hit him again.
あ、悪いね。食器を使うような。
Part of my job, which we're not here for.
ただ、気になってたんだ。捜査本部でも話題になってたんだ。
ばあちゃん。
いえ、いいんです。
Just fucking German suplex the guy. Momose had almost leapt out of her chair at Bond's rude question, but Yua herself stopped her.
私もおかしいって思いますか？
ああ。
集団ライブで飛び降りた5人には自殺する理由なんてなかったが、ミヤさんの家族だけは違った。
Bond took his fan out of his belt and began to wave it at his face. Tell me why your family's so fucking weird.
何も主張しなかった。あっさり受け入れたって聞いてる。なんでだい？
お父さんもお母さんもミヤちゃんが死んでからおかしくなっちゃったんです。
There was pain in her voice.
最初はミヤちゃんの事件の知らせを受けた日はそれから泣いていたんです。
Good so far.
お父さんもお母さんもとても辛そうでした。でも次の日の朝、なぜか2人は楽しそうに笑っていたんです。ミヤちゃんが死ぬ前と全く同じに戻ってたんです。たった1日で。私、わけがわからなくて、2人はミヤちゃんのこと忘れようとしてるんじゃないかって思って。 そうしたら
Alright, that is odd.
笑いながらお前に妹なんていないよって。
She was a delusion.
みやちゃんが残した洋服とか靴とかを見せても全然取り合ってくれないんです。
Oh my god, it's like dealing with a fucking conservative conspiracy theorist. Like, look, here is all the evidence. It's right here. Nuh-uh.
それはお前のために予備で買ってあったものだって。そうやってお父さんたちはニュースからも警察の話からも目を背けて
Familiar.
記憶からみやちゃんのことを消し去ろうとしてるんです。
つまり双子じゃなかったことに。
それで警察にもうちは一人っ子だって言って追い返してたわ。
That would have been cool to have known any information like that before now. I don't know, that might have been, like, interesting or something.
あの子は妹は親からあの子はいつも自分の気持ちを押し殺して私のことを一番に考えてくれていたんです。
As Yua talked, she remembered her old life. For example, one year when she was in elementary school, her parents had bought a present, a single giant stuffed bear. Yeah, the sister was a delusion created by Yua. That's my guess. Yua was excited, but Mia said she didn't like stuffed animals and ignored it. Her parents had disliked how Mia refused to act like a little child should. Still, Yua had quietly offered to share the stuffed animal with her, but Mia had refused. I don't need a stuffed animal. You can have it, was all she'd said. A month or so later, when Yua had gotten tired of the stuffed animal, she'd woken late at night to see something surprising. Mia was holding the stuffed bear and talking to it, with such a happy look on her face. Yua had never seen her sister look so happy. It was only then that Yua realized her sister was lying about not wanting the bear. She'd been lying so that her sister could have it all to herself. The next day, Yua looked under Mia's pillow and found a cute picture of a bear she'd drawn. Mia had been sleeping with it in her arms until Yua got tired of the stuffed animal. Things like that had happened over and over for the past 18 years. It was always Yua who blew out the candles on the birthday cake. Mia would say, "That's stupid, I'm not doing it," and her parents would get angry. Yua had made it into Suimei Academy, a private school, but Mia had deliberately behaved badly in class, lowering her grades and making sure she got sent to a public one. Her parents hadn't had the money to send both of them to private schools, so they were like, hell yeah, well done. Why did we have two kids? No matter what Yua tried to do for Mia, Mia would always put her sister first, even if it meant making other people hate her. Uh-huh.
私は結局みやちゃんの優しさに甘えて
And then she died.
今まで
She died! She
みや
died!
ちゃんがいなくなって初めてもっとあの子のために何かできることがあったはずだって私が代わりに死んであげればよかった。
That's just survivor's guilt. A reasonable thing to feel, but ultimately that doesn't help.
しかも挙句に親に存在するものを
Yeah, that's also bad. Don't do that either.
あんまりですあんまり
It's just so sad.
悲しいです
That was all the talking she could do. She took off her glasses and put her hands over her eyes as she began to cry. Momose sat next to her, kindly patting her on the back, and meanwhile this fucking Columbo clown is there like, huh, I really should be at work.
それでユアちゃんは一人で事件のことを調べていたらしい。
Poorly, just like this guy. Two peas in a pod, not getting anywhere.
ミアちゃんに一体何があったのか知る。
そりゃ大変だったろ。
そして一人の人物を突き止め
Takumi Nishijo.
あ
Pa.
西条匠くんよ。
Oh my god.
なるほどね。
And he's like, Naruhodo. Bond stroked this. He did. He is doing that. He leaned
いつ
forward.
だったか西条と追跡劇をしてたっていう女子高生の話もしかして
That would be me.
ユアちゃんだったりする。
She nodded at him apologetically.
興味あるな。詳しこうと思ったけどちょっとごめんよ。
Oh, I'm about to get fired. He'd been cut off by the sound of his phone ringing from within his suit pocket. He quickly took it out and looked at the LCD screen. It was showing Sua's name.
もしもし、どうした？
The fuck do you want? Murder! Murder!
なんだと？
Cool. Sua's voice was tense. Bond could hear the sound of other police officers frantically running around him. From the sound of it, Sua was at the station. Bond's eyes went wide, and then he bit his lip, bitterly. Momose and Yua could tell by his demeanor that something had happened, and were looking at him, worried. Oh no, oh no, oh no! Oh no, not the top part. Q, D, and N, not D, Q, N. Some kind of message to the DQNs. Wow, really going out of their way to red herring our boy here. A sword, a D sword, a DQN sword, you might say.
どういう意味だ？
Ripped apart. Well, I guess a sword wouldn't rip. Bond repeated that to himself as he scratched his head roughly with the hilt of the fan.
怪獣だな。
Like a kaiju. Oh, that would be cool. Are you fucking dense? No, like a sword.
なんなら例えだバカな。ええから。
You calling him a baka? He hung up the phone. Okay, time to go. Bye-bye. The sun started setting earlier once November came. By the time I was ready to go home with Rimi after class, a pale orange color was settling over the sky.
ごめんね。
Rimi had been silent until then, but suddenly she apologized.
たく、いろいろ大変だったんでしょ。
Nah, he's been alright. It was the first time in a while we'd gone home together. I was so happy she'd come back. She'd offered to go home with me today again for one thing. She's like, fuck, I gotta fucking pretend to care about this goddamn whiner, this loser. We'd only gone home together twice now, so I was afraid she might want to stop, but that didn't happen. She put on a good
一緒にいてあ
front.
げられなくてごめん。知り合いが例の地震で怪我しちゃってずっと面倒見てたから。
Rimi brought up the subject even though I hadn't asked.
うん。
But to be honest, I wasn't even hearing most of what she was saying. I was probably looking at her chest or something, whatever a fucking creeper like him would do. Oops, wrong button. That bandage I'd seen on Nanami's wrist at lunch, I couldn't get it out of my mind. That's what happened. You get your hand chopped off, you would just put a fucking regular ass bandage over it.
もしかして怒ってる？
Furious. I'd missed my chance to talk with her then. Well, no, I'd gotten scared. Nanami was my little sister. I was her big brother. We know. It's been 25 hours in this game. We know. But something felt so strange. The nurse had said Nanami wasn't hurt. The hand that Shogun had sent me had disappeared from the fridge in the base. It was all supposed to be a delusion. So why would she have a bandage around her right hand? Could she have gotten hurt in some other manner? Maybe I was just overthinking things and she'd gotten burnt and had a nasty bug bite. That had to be it. Right? This was the most sensible answer. Right? But I was still afraid of finding out. I hadn't been able to help her, but here I was, too gloomy to even talk to her. Just give her a call or just be like, hey, how you doing? And she'd be like, why the fuck are you calling me? And be like, alright, cool. See you later. That was a really awful big brother.
もしもし、怒ってるならそう言ってよ。無視されるのって結構傷つい。
Mom? I looked at Rimi. She was sad.
もしかして私の話聞いてなかった？
I said I'm just not that into you. I hesitated a moment before nodding. She poked a finger into my cheek and pushed.
石、てっきり無視されたかと思ったよ。紛らわしいことしない。
Ow, her nail. Her nail was digging into my skin. Well, once you grow up, you might actually kind of like that kind of thing. Rimi whispered, finally pulling her back her hand. Yeah, that was always what she said when she was worried about me.
お昼ぐらいから顔色良くないよ。元気もないみたいだし。もしかして誰かにひどいこと言われた？
Can I see your D sword?
だったら私に教えて。
Whip it out for me.
持ってきてあげるから。
She was like a big sister, or my mom. Rimi could be pretty nosy. Well, she'd have to be, if she could care about a weird loser like me. I appreciated the fact that she was worried about me. Until now, whenever I'd had a problem, my only options were to keep it to myself or write an anonymous post on 8chan. Eesh. Don't want to be posting to that one. No. Maybe I should ask her about Nanami. But when I'd asked about the D-sword, she hadn't believed me at all. She'd reacted just like any sensible person would. Clearly, she's deranged. If I told her, she'd either laugh it off or be freaked out. If that was the case, it'd be a waste of time to try. All I needed from Rimi was for her to be by my side. I could ask Kozapi or Senna for help with this problem instead.
相変わらず汚いね。
She's clearly saying that, like, oh, this place is still fucking gross. I can't stop smiling, or he'll sense I'm up to no good. Rimi whispered in exasperation as she stepped inside the base. But despite her complaints, she seemed happy, so I couldn't tell what she was really thinking.
変わってないな。
Sarcasm?
部屋の汚さがまさにタクって感じ。
I spent time cleaning my room. That's why I'm in a different place in the room. If it's that bad, then you clean it. I said to my guest. Clean my room. God damn you.
ちょっとちょっと。帰ってくるなりパソコン？友達が来てるんだから少しは。
Seriously, a little fucking common courtesy, brother.
ねえ、
Come on.
話しようよ。
Let's chat. Rimi asked me for the impossible as she sat down on my sofa. A drink. If I tried to have a one-on-one chat with a 3D girl, I'd run out of things to discuss almost instantly. Lately, I'd had more chances to talk to Rimi, and had started to get used to talking to her, but I still wouldn't last even 5 minutes. And right now, my head was full with thoughts of Nanami, and I didn't feel like having a cheerful conversation. I'm sure it would look like I was ignoring her. I sat down in my chair feeling like a pathetic loser. 'Cause you are.
ここまで行ったのになおも無視
I could hear Rimi standing up. She walked over to me and grabbed the toy D-sword off the table. Ignoring my confusion, she raised it high above her head.
そんなタクにはこうだ。
Slice his fucking head off. Then she brought down the sword. Of course she was joking instead of being serious, but the tip of the sword was stabbing into my back. She began to whack me on the head with it, and when I tried to brush it away, she skillfully dodged my hand. Ah, combat experience.
じゃないと本気で切っちゃうぞ。
楽しいことって
You know. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere, anytime at all, down here with my best buddy. You know that. Nimi was bringing down the sword to chop my head off. She paused in mid-strike and thought. F is for fire, burning down the whole town. U is for uranium. Bombs! N is for no survivors. When you, I don't know, a video game. You're good at those, right? Well, he plays just the one.
そういうのやったことないからいろいろ教えてほしいな。
Unfortunately, the only games I had were H games and ESO. Neither of them. Can you imagine? You know, you bring somebody over and like, hey, let's play a video game together. Sorry, I've only got hentai. Oh my god. Even somebody who might be cool with that would still probably go, really? That's all you got?
無理だよ。ソフトがなくて。
Insta disappointment.
だってせっかく久しぶりに会えた。
It's been so long. I appreciated the sentiment, but right now I just didn't feel like having any fun with Rimi. I just want her to protect me and just like be a presence, like a fucking you know, just like it's just a sort of a girl-shaped miasma that never leaves and doesn't talk.
メールだよ。ボケナス。今の何？
Oh, sorry, it was just my wife. It was my wife.
いや
Rimi has just heard my Seiratan email voice. That was really embarrassing. Unlike everything else about how I'm acting right now. I opened my email program and saw 3 messages from Grim telling me to get my ass in the chat room. I realized that I hadn't chatted with Grim in a while. We used to talk all the time. But since I'd been staying off ESO, we hadn't talked for about 10 days. Night Hot entered the room. Current members? 2. Hey. Hey, Nightheart. I've been waiting. We got new nice guy. We've got what? Too lazy to find AA. Alcoholics Anonymous? Dude, new gen. New gen equals nice guy? New gen equals NG, nice guy. Shouldn't be that hard to figure out, right? Anyway, it's here, the 7th murder.
どうしたの？
Nimi must have noticed my surprise, because she stood up and come over to stand next to me. She peered at the monitor from over my shoulder.
第7の事件。
Another one. Another new gen murder. How long was this going to keep happening? Would the next one be the one where they finally got me? Or the one right after that?
タク、気にすることないよ。
Yeah, who gives a shit? It wasn't you.
何も怖いことなんてない。
I mean, alright.
タクは
That seems like an okay thing to say. Sure, I trust that.
全部タクの被害妄想。
Suspicious. Bah. She was trying to cheer me up, but she had no evidence at all. That's not going to make me feel better, Rimi. Anyway, had Grim gotten a job at the New Gen advertising division or something? He was constantly telling me about them whenever one happened. It's almost like it was a current event, and he is very attached to current events. Once again, he'd posted a bunch of links to news sites. This must have been, well, at least he uses multiple sources and not just one. Good on you, Grim. It must have been his way of telling me to look at them. I clicked the link and bit down hard on my lip. DQN puzzle. Oh, they knew to be DQN. Oh, that's crazy. 7th New Gen case, DQN puzzle. At 4:50 a.m. on the 4th, the bodies of 3 men were found hanging from a transmission tower along the train tracks in Shibuya Ward, Tokyo. The bodies belonged to 3 Shibuya residents, a college student named Saburo Anzawa, a part-time worker named Ryo Takagi, and Kohei Fujita, who was unemployed. A police investigation revealed that the bodies of all 3 had been severed at the waist, and that the cut did not appear to have been made as cleanly as if by a blade. The lower and upper halves of the deceased were each attached to different bodies, sewn together with sturdy thread. The letters D, Q, and N were found on their foreheads, which the police believe may be a message from the killer. Pictures of the crime scene were uploaded to @Channel, a major internet message board, before the media's reports, and it is already being called the 7th in the so-called New Generation Madness cases. Users of the board have named it the DQN puzzle, due to the way the bodies of the victims were. DQN is a word used to refer to a thug, or a person who lacks common sense, a delinquent. Some members of the families are preparing to take legal action against certain inappropriate comedy. Oops, that's a movie and a bad one. Inappropriate comments from @Channel users, and reaction online has been mixed. Mixed? What's been mixed? Them trying to sue people for making comment. What's the Bo Burnham line? Tragedy will be exclusively joked about because my empathy is bumming me out. Zako. I'm assuming that's the reporter. A new gen. Kutkur. Lol. DQN. Lol. This isn't new gen. The cops are idiots. You trying to say that we DQN hating @Channers are behind it? The way they rip the bodies apart and put them back together is kind of like a puzzle. I wish they'd replace my top half with that of a hot guy. Get that fake psychic Nishijo to tell me who's behind it, lol. Yeah, Nishijo catching strays like he should. It's the New Generation Madness and I can't bear it. New Gen 1 group dive. Whee! Number 2, New Gen 2 pregnant man. Ah! New Gen 3 crucified. Ah! New Gen 4 vampire. New Gen 5 brain dead. New Gen 6 yummy hand. New Gen 7 DQN puzzle.
午前4時50分頃、東京都渋谷区の線路沿いで男性3人の他殺死体が鉄柱に吊り下げられているのを通りかかった新聞販売員の男性が発見しました。警察の調べによりますと、殺されたのはいずれも渋谷区で
I already read that.
無職3人とも同
Yeah, just said that.
され、それぞれの上半身と下半身3人の額にはそれぞれ謎の傷がつけられており、渋谷では2ヶ月ほど前から猟奇殺人事件が頻発しており、警察では今回の事件も同一犯による犯行の可能性が高いとみて捜査を続けています。
The last video I saw showed the faces of the 3 murdered men. I recognized their faces.
あいつらだ。
知ってるの？
昨日僕に絡んで
Oh no. I gave them my wallet, but they still attacked me anyway. I passed out, and when I woke up, Kozapi was there. The 3 of them were covered in blood. I took my wallet out of my pocket and stared at it. When I'd woken up, Kozapi was holding my wallet, and she'd given it back to me. Could she be the one who... And then I killed them. Oh, that wasn't right. When I'd seen them last, their faces were smashed, and they were covered in blood, but they certainly weren't sliced in half. I would have noticed something like that. They'd been killed after Kozapi and I had left. It had to be Shogun. He was taunting me. He was trying to destroy my mind. I felt like I was about to throw up. My stomach was racked with pain. I put my hands up against it hard to try and make it go away. Would I be next? Would the next one finally be the one where I was killed? We can only hope, Takumi. hand reached out from behind me and flicked the switch on the monitor. The screen went black.
落ち着いて。
Yeah, just fucking get over this, man. Who even cares? This doesn't even matter.
気にすることないよ。
You don't need to worry about it.
ただの偶然だってきっと。
Yeah, it's totally just coincidence. How could Rimi be so calm? There was no way this could all just be a coincidence. It was too coincidental.
それよりお腹空いちゃった。
Okay.
ねえ、私が行きつけのお店があるんだけど。
Is it Wickdonald's? It's probably Wickdonald's.
安くて美味しいんだよ。
Definitely Wickdonald's.
まあ、お客さんはおじさんが多いから、私みたいのが一人で行くのはちょっと恥ずかしい、ね。
At Wickdonald's?
あ、それと駅の中に入らなくちゃいけないんだった。渋谷駅のコーナーにあるから。ちなみに山手線内回りと外回りのホームどっちにもあるんだけど、私は断然内回りの方が好
It's
き。
definitely Wickdonald's. Dinner, huh? I didn't feel like eating dinner. It felt like there was a knife at my throat. Like somebody was saying they could kill me at any time. Just leave me alone. What did I ever do to you? I'm just so tired of this all. Well, you know something, buddy. So am I.